Hello and welcome to another video with myself, KP. Now, it's only one thing to talk about, and that is the Ashes, the first test. And I am going to review a two-day test match that was all done and dusted with Australia taking the game 1-0. Now, before this Ashes test, the first test started, one thing I said was that it was very important for England to start off well. I also said that it is possibly England's best chance this Perth test to try and get ahead in the series, but also to gain some confidence. Australia had no Pat Cummins, no Josh Hazlewood. Two major bowlers out of the first test. Two of the best bowlers of this generation out of the first test. And England had a massive chance. Now, the way England started the game and so on, it wasn't great. But end of the first day, you would have to say they were well in control. At lunch on day two, well in control. And before you blink an eye, what do you know? England lose by 8 wickets, and they get absolutely headballed by Australia. And obviously, headballed means one thing: Travis Head. Yes, that man Travis Head. He's given us Indian fans plenty of headaches. And now it's time for England to come across the Travis Head headache, basically, to put it in simple terms. Now, basically, look, listen, it's very hard, for England to come back into this series now. It is simple as that. Before this series started, I said Australia would have enough in the tank to win the series. However, I did say I wouldn't be surprised if England started off well in the series at Perth, and then overall 5-match series, Australia will get better. But obviously what happened was that England had everything going for them. As I already mentioned, no Hazlewood, no Pat Cummins. They were well in top. Not just in top, they were well in top here in the first test. But then again, what happened was that England just absolutely collapsed. And it just happened just like that. Like I said, you blink an eye, and they let a fantastic opportunity go. And then what happens was that when the pitch started to ease out, England pacers, one-dimensional, did not have a clue how to contain Travis Head and the Australians. And, some of the lengths were absolutely horrible by England bowlers. And, on TV, they were showing the lengths, and you just know that England were just not learning. They were actually bowling to Travis Head's strength, which was absolutely out of this world. I mean, something in the wicket in the first inning, something in the wicket in the first innings of the Australian batting, and England made full use of it. But soon as the wicket started to ease, England just did not have enough answers. And to be fair, you saw how England tailenders batted. They batted actually well. So in the second innings, so the pitch was starting to flatten out, and that England's top order should have done much more better than what they did to set a target much more than 205. But look, listen, it is what it is, and Australia go 1-0 up, and they fully well, at the end, you have to say, very well deserved. They held their nerve. They didn't have the full strength team with no Hazlewood and Cummins, but yet they managed to find a way. Scott Boland, what a man. He just knows how to chip away. And those 3 quick wickets he took off England's wickets in the second innings, that just broke the heart of the England batting order. And, those, and you've got to salute the Aussies' mentality, their toughness, and they just find a way. They just found a way. It might not have been the greatest of Australian teams, but yet Australia found a way, something which England lacks. Now, something I want to mention before this Ashes, the whole thing started, everyone was saying how this is England's best chance against probably one of the worst Australian teams. Now, look, listen, Australia might not be the greatest of this of the compared to past Australian teams, but it's still one of the best test teams in the world game today, even now. Okay, so that says something. And in what ways did England think that they can come to Australia with full of swagger and confidence like they were making it out to be? I really do not understand. You know, they struggled to put away a let's say a very vulnerable Indian team on home soil. And yes, that's on home soil. England could not win a series. It was 2-2. And if anything, England got lucky not to lose 3-2 in that series as well. They could have very well lost that series. So I do not know what England were thinking in what basis they came to Australia thinking they can calm and talk big and so on. You know the challenges you're going to face in Australia. And for that, you need to talk something sensible. In what ways were you thinking? Yes, you may think you have the batsmen and everything to go out and baseball, play positive cricket, the myth that you've created within yourselves, not potentially with England, but the myth that they've created in the media of English cricket and so on. And the players are just, they're in a bubble. We're thinking, okay, we can win from any position. We know we've got the batsman to score 5-6 runs and over. It doesn't matter. Your first innings was 174 in 33 something overs. The run rate was really good, but what's the point when you get bowled out for 174? In Test cricket, you need to score big, over 300, 400. Those kind of scores wins you games. Even if you're scoring 2 runs and over or 3 runs and over. Scoring 7, 8 and over and getting bowled out for 180 and so on does not win you Test matches. Now, so that's one of those big things. When you come into an Ashes series, you need to have something about you or results in the past to think. One thing is England have not beaten India or Australia. You took big 3, England, Australia, England and India, but England have not beaten Australia or India home or away in a baseball era. Simple as that. So England need to, English fans, you look at them and they're so pissed off. They're thinking, well, we don't want to worry about all this entertaining brand of cricket when we're losing games of cricket. It is simple as that. You look at England's last Ashes series win in Australia, 2010 and 11. They had absolute tough men there. You had Cook, Strauss, Trott, Peterson. That was a solid top 4. You had a good middle order and you had a fantastic bowling attack. You had a world-class spinner. You do not have all that thing covered. Only thing you can boast about is batsmen going out there having the ability to score at a certain rate. But can they bat long? No. Have you got a well-rounded bowling lineup? I don't think so, because you only think about pace. And that does not win you Test matches. It is simple as that. You need to have a bowling attack that can suit in all type of conditions and adapt. And sadly, England do not have that, and they have to accept it. They're still in this Ashes series, only 1 test gone, but they need to use their brains. They need to start playing, adapting to the conditions, and they need to just bat big. Forget about the run rate. It's a 5-day test. You've got plenty of time. So that's all I'm going to leave it at that point there, but well played, Australia. You very well deserved at the end. And England, you've got a lot of thinking to do. That's all, guys. Take care. KP.